Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Brave Kids Art Club. My name is Brad and I am so excited for today. You wanna know why? Because we're drawing another animal. Now I told you we weren't gonna just completely stop drawing animals. I told you I'd sprinkle them in still here and there with the other stuff that we've been drawing. So today we're gonna be drawing a really cool animal. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun drawing it. We are drawing a walrus today. These are such cool animals, so we're gonna learn a lot about them. They're gonna be really fun to draw. But first, before we get started, let's make sure we have everything we need. All right, make sure you have a nice clean sheet of paper. You're gonna need a pencil out because of course we're gonna do our sketching. And when we do our sketching, we're bound to make some mistakes and that's perfectly fine. So make sure you have an eraser handy. And especially after we do our outlining, we're gonna need a dark marker or a pen for that. So once we drop that final outline, we're gonna wanna erase all the pencil sketch underneath it to clean it all up before we get to our coloring. And this is my favorite part, so hopefully you guys have a lot of fun with that. And don't feel bad if you don't have markers. You can have colored pencils, crayons, paints, whatever you wanna use. That's all just fine. Okay, let's start things off with our sketch. All right, what does a walrus look like? Have you seen a walrus? They're pretty interesting, aren't they? They got the big long tusks, but they're really big, blobby looking seals with tusks is what they look like. So I'm gonna start with maybe like an oval right about, let's say like right over here. Let's start with an oval shape right around here. Ooh. The trick to drawing ovals and circles more accurately is by trying to move your whole arm and not just your wrist. So if you try to do your wrist, it gets kind of wonky. I mean, it's still wonky, but it gets less so if you use your whole arm. It's a little trick I use to help me with those because they're really hard to draw. All right, so we got that. I'm gonna draw a line cutting off the bottom of this because this will be the walrus looking at us and we'll have their body and the tail over here. But our walrus friend is not gonna be this rounded at the bottom. So let's draw a line straight across here for the bottom of our walrus. There we are. And this is their head. And we'll draw the little flippers and things. But let's get their main body first. Let's get that blocked out so we know how big it is on the page. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of follow this down. A little curve off of the top of this curve of our oval. I'm gonna go like this, I'm gonna go out, and then I'm gonna slowly curve it back here. Got my erasers in the way. I'm gonna slowly curve it back here, like that, and bring it all the way back down here. Kind of looks like a lion, like we're drawing a lion. We'll see, this will look drastically different than a lion. At least I hope so, because it's not what I'm trying to draw. And then we'll draw the tail. So you can just kind of go from this point right over here, and we'll just draw a little curve right here, like that. I made that a little bit too big, so I can just kind of clean this up. Made that a little too long. That's why I got my eraser, huh? Erase that right off. Cool. Okay, well, I guess we might as well erase this too, because we're not gonna need that part of the oval. All right, well, this is looking pretty good. So we got the front of them. Let's maybe draw the little flippers and the tail on here. They look really interesting. So if you ever seen like seals, they look kind of like a mix between like a fish and a whale flipper or fin. It's kind of interesting looking. So let's show you I'll show you what they look like. It kind of goes like this. A little curve right there. We'll do the same thing on this side. Might as well do it because they're symmetrical and do the same on both sides. So we might as well just draw them at the same time. Might help us out. And then we're gonna just go in. Let's just say this is the middle. So I'll mark a little mark right there in the middle so I know where it's at. And I'm gonna start with almost like little fingers, like that. I'm gonna go back up and go 1, 2, 3. Oh, there we go. It's kind of a funky looking little tail there, but that's what they look like. Very interesting looking animals. And the same thing with the little flippers. It almost looks like they got teeny tiny little fingers. Really short fingers, I should say. All right, so we need these little flippers to hold them up because these are really, really big animals. Like they can get up to 3,000 pounds. That's 1.5 tons. That's crazy big. Okay, on the end here, they, like I said, kind of got the short little fingers looking thing. So kind of go like that. And then we'll bring it back right here to underneath them. Doop, 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 like that. And then we'll do another little one. Same thing right here. Have them go over here. 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to bring it back under there. 3,000 pounds. That's like the size of a small car. That's how much that would weigh. The size of a small car. That's a massive animal. All right, let's go ahead and do the little creases on here. So they're pretty rolly, kind of chunky. And the reason why they're so chunky actually is because they need to be able to live in very, very cold waters and in cold climates. So that chunkiness is called blubber. It's like a big layer of fat between their skin and their insides, and it keeps them nice and warm. So we're gonna draw some rolly little rolls on here for our friend. So right here, maybe we'll do a few little lines right there. Make it look like it's kind of pinched right around there. I mean, that, even if we're not roly-poly, if you put your arm down like that, you'll see that it kind of pinches. Just these little lines that come out right there. That just shows that it's bent. It's not like that when you don't have it bent. So that way we can show that that's kind of bent and it's not just sticking straight out. Alrighty. They just happen to be roly-poly on top of it. They can also be about 11 feet long. Just imagine seeing that out in the wild. Huge. All right, so let's draw the face. This will be the fun part. Now we're gonna draw that big face. It looks like they got a big old mustache with giant tusks coming out. So let's start maybe with like 2 circles right here. Let's start with 2 big circles right here. And we'll connect them to kind of looking like a peanut. But the circles seem to be the easiest way to make these connect. So go like that. And then we connect them by just doing a little curve. Whoop. And we do the same thing up here. Connect them that way. Just do a little dip in, and then we'll go in and just erase the middle. There we go. Look at that. We already got his little mouth right there. Awesome. Okay, so now that we got that, we need to show the bottom chin. So let's put that chin on the bottom right here. Now you can have their mouth open. Maybe they're talking or singing or whatever else you want to do here. You can add that. But I'm just going to have their mouth closed here because they got a lot going on with they got a lot of long whiskers. They got these tusks. So I don't want to get too crazy with it. I'm going to draw a little line right there because it's going to be the split in their nose. And they have little, big I guess, compared to their bodies. They got big old nostrils. Right there. And then we'll draw their eyes. Let's give them big friendly eyes. I might actually go over this a little bit because I'm going to hide it behind there. But to draw my circle, it's a little easier to draw it if I'm not trying to just draw half a circle. It's easier just to draw the full circle and then I'll erase some of it. Like that. So it's kind of hidden behind part of the mouth there. So let's keep curving. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to erase, like I said, the part where that's overlapping the mouth. Mouth there, the nose, mouth, whatever that front of their face is. There we are. And then we'll go ahead and just draw maybe some big pupils in there to make them nice and friendly. There we are. Look how happy this little, I don't know the name yet. I got to think of a name for my walrus. There we go. Okay, we got the eyes on there. Maybe we'll draw a little line right here because they got some rolls going on in their face too. And a lot of this will you'll be able to see a lot more of the walrus face taking shape when we get to the colors. You can kind of separate it by color because usually their face is a little bit darker than the rest of their body. But all right, let's do the most famous part. What part am I missing? The tusks, the really long tusks. They got them right here. This is what I was most excited for. So maybe yours has little short tusks. I'm going to do some really long ones because they look like they're going to be fun to draw. So I'm going to kind of curve them out over here. Like that. Like that. I'm going to draw another one right over here. Oh, yeah. Do you know why they have tusks? I mean, one assumption I had was that they would kind of fight with them, and that's true. They do fight with them. They defend themselves with their tusks, but they're also there to help them get back onto land when they're coming out of the water. So just think of it. They're trying to get those big, giant, slippery bodies back onto the ice. It's going to be kind of hard. They don't got arms to pull and something to grab into the ice. It's kind of slick. So they got those big tusks to help them pull themselves up. Isn't that crazy? I didn't know that's what they were for. But they use them to help them get back on from out of the water. That's pretty smart. All right, so then we got to do some little. They got this big old front of their mouth here that has a lot of hair or whiskers, I should say. And very important whiskers for them, because sometimes the bottom of the water is kind of murky, not very clear. Maybe dirty water. They can't really see what's under there, and they need to be able to see to eat. So, because they can't see, they use these whiskers to kind of feel around and find like all the different things at the bottom of the ocean that they want to eat. They like to eat things like clams and mollusks and crabs and shrimp, a lot of things that just kind of hang out at the bottom, and they can dive really deep, but typically they like to just stay in the shallow water and just eat from the shallow water. Alrighty, so I'm going to follow this line that we already had. I'm going to go back to it, and I'm going to kind of make it more defined, and I'm going to draw another few lines right here to show that their whole body is kind of wrinkled, because when they're twisted, you'll see a bunch of wrinkles and chunk or fat rolls on them because they are so big. So we're going to add those rolls on there. Kind of like a bulldog. If you see a bulldog's face, just all scrunched up, we'll add those on there. That should be pretty fun. Okay, so I added a few of them on, and the one thing I like to do is just add a little rounded top to them so it looks like it's all folded over. See? Doesn't it look like it's all folded over? And we can do the same thing, maybe we'll add a little bit of a line right there, and we can do the same thing we did over here with the tail since it's bent. We'll kind of do the same thing. And if you want, you can kind of round it off at the bottom, however you want to do that. But I like how this is looking. This is looking pretty good. Now, one thing we should probably do is go through and erase all the stuff that we don't want to fill in with our marker, or outline, I should say, with our marker or your pen. So I'm going to go and erase all that stuff that I don't want on there so I don't forget and just draw over it anyways, which I have been known to do. So it just kind of helps planning out your illustration, making your life a little bit easier. Oh, look at that. He's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to name him, let's see, Wally. Wally the Walrus. That seems fitting. All right, Wally, you need some outlines so we can color you in. Let's go ahead and start maybe with the main body. Oh, down to there. Gotta get those wrinkles in there. Yeah, these are such big animals. And like I said, they live in these really cold areas in some really frigid cold waters. And so they have that blubber. That's why they're so chunky, so that they can stay warm. But another way they stay warm under the water is by being able to lower their heart rate and slow down their breathing. And they can stay in colder waters longer that way. It's pretty cool, huh? I think they can hold their breath up to like 30 minutes. It's a long time. All right, let's add that line underneath here. We'll add these little flippers. There we are. Let's do the same thing over here. Add those little flippers down here. Another interesting fact about walruses is, I think it's walruses. I think that's the plural version of, if you say more than one walrus, it's walruses. But walruses, they live in little herds. So a big group of them all together, but they actually live separated by boy and girl. I didn't know that. So only the boys live together and the girls live together in their own herds. Might be kind of boring. Ugh. There we are. Let's add that little chin under there. I love those tusks. I think that's just the coolest part about them. It's such a unique characteristic with these animals. And what's interesting too is that both male and female walruses have tusks. So it's not just the boy ones. A lot of times we find that just like the boy ones will have those defense mechanisms and things that they have, but so does the girls. And then we'll do a little thing right there. We gotta add those whiskers. Do you remember what those whiskers are for? That's right, for feeling around, finding them food when they can't really see under the water too well. Sometimes the water's a little murky and hard to see. Makes it hard for them to hunt. All right, now I'm gonna draw little dots on here. This kind of reminds me of a hippo, actually. The front here. Doesn't that remind you of our hippo? Kind of does to me. Maybe I'll add just a little bit longer lines right here. There, I like that. Maybe let's do a few more lines. Let's do some wrinkles right here on their chest to give them some. I just said wrinkles. I said some rolls. Let's give some Wally some rolls here. So we'll just draw some lines, maybe like that. Maybe one right there. Awesome. Well, I love how Wally's turning out. I just need to go ahead and color him. Take your time. If you need to catch up or anything like that, just pause the video and take your time and add what you want. Maybe you want your walrus in a different position. Go ahead and do that. And really, with the colors, you're going to have a whole lot of fun. So go wild with the colors, and we'll catch up right after. And the last little details on here, just on the tusks. And I think Wally is finished. Awesome. Well, that was a blast. I'm so glad you guys were here to draw with me today. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys learned a lot about walruses. They're such cool animals. It was really fun to not only draw, but to learn about it. So I'm really proud of Wally. I'm going to sign my name on it so everybody knows that I'm proud of it. Go ahead and do that with your illustration too. Make sure you are very proud of what you make. And I sign my little initials there, and I can call this illustration finished. So thank you guys, as always, for showing up and watching my videos. I hope you guys really enjoy these. And thank you guys so much for sending me new ideas for things to draw. I love that. So keep doing that and share with me what you are drawing. I love to see what you guys are making. That always makes my day because you guys are so talented. So remember, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please drop it a like. And then remember, before I let you go, be brave, be creative, but most importantly, be you. Alrighty, we'll see you guys next time.